Hello to the chicos and the chicas. How are you, lovely folks? Today we are going to talk about Blitz chess. I have got a very firm opinion about Blitz chess. In fact, I've got a very firm opinion about most things chess related. Excuse me. And I'm mostly talking now to people. I'm talking to everybody, obviously, who is watching this, but I'm mostly talking to people who are improvers, who want to get better at chess. I think that for you lovely people, there is a fairly limited scope when it comes to how can I use my Blitz games to actually improve my proper chess. And there is not a lot of room there, contrary to various Lala rumors and urban legends, and yeah, nah, not an awful lot. My theory is that the best way you can put your Blitz games to use is if you choose to play them with the main purpose of practicing your opening repertoire. I'm pretty sure that repertoire is the right way to say it, given it's a French word, but I've already received 5 zillion comments about how I'm saying it, so I will keep on doing it just for the funsies. So what that means is that if you choose to play Blitz and your primary objective is to use that time and effort to actually inform your proper game, you must play your opening repertoire. So obviously, if you want to play Blitz games for funsies, that's totally fine. You do whatevs, that's up to you. But if the purpose of the game, or rather games actually, as I will elaborate on this in a bit, is to somehow do something that is quick and yet means something for your big picture, for your real chess, it's definitely the openings that will be the most helpful. On this note, I think the best way to do this is you have got a Blitz session, you actually agree with yourself on the time, then you are going to overstep it by about 3 times of that, and then you stop. And so then you have got a bunch of games, and then you must, not necessarily immediately, but that's best, because then your brain is still fresh and is thinking about what happened. And then you go through the openings of every single game that was meaningful and see how far you managed to stay in book, and then see where things went amiss somewhere in the game. And then you look up your opening database. Now we live in a day and age where there are multiple avenues how you can have opening databases. I'm still a chess-based guy, but a lot of people have got chessable databases. A lot of people have got on the platform where they play various databases. So it's quite a broad thing now. But no matter what, you must then refer to your database, and if actually you played an awesome game that is worthy of entering there, then do so. Let me model this for you. And by the way, this is the second time I'm recording this video, and it's going to be not as good as the first one, because in the first one, as I was recording, I explored things, and so it seemed very, well, it's genuine anyway, but it was really awesome because I went like, oh wow, that's a thing, I need to enter that too, thank you. I will tell you what that is, but like I said, the spontaneity is a little bit killed. So I picked up a few games for you to have a look at. Many of them will be actually about the Night Orphan, and I will explain to you why that is. Against the Night Orphan, apart from Bishop G5, which I do play all the time, or not all the time, but very often, I also play a lot my pet variation, the Bishop C4 line. I spent an awful lot of time on this variation in the past 10 years, polishing it. It still has got ginormous gaps in it where I can't really find a way to have a good position for white, but nonetheless, it's a little bit like a love story where it often doesn't really make too much sense, but you're still in love because that just the feelings are driving you, not so much the rational, and it's always good to be on cloud number 9. So I had this game, and here my opponent, after Bishop E7 F4, which is one of the many offbeat moves that I play in the Bishop C4 Night Orphan. The main line here, of course, is castles, or Bishop E3 even, but F4 also can transition to a lot of things, but it's not as commonly played. And here my opponent played Queen C7, And after mutual mistakes, and I'm leaving the analysis on now, maybe I shouldn't. Actually, no, I won't, because it will just distract you. So I played bishop e3. Oh, I still get the question mark thing. Can I eliminate that? Am I gonna still get that? Let me see. Yeah, I think I do. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, after mutual issues, I got into a very garbage position, which then I ended up win, lose, win, lose, win, lose. Oh, I've sacrificed my queen. Welcome to Bote's Gambit. What happened there? I'm totally winning here. Anyway, so I went like, this is not right, man. What am I supposed to do here? And so what I did then, which is now nowhere near as effective as the first time of recording this video, is that I looked up my chess-based database, which is, by the way, fittingly called Nimzo. If you look up there where I'm hovering with the mouse. Oh, wait. I was hovering at the wrong spot. I'm hovering key, not on OBS. Because there's nothing in the Nimzo, or nothing from the Nimzo in this. It's all Sicilians. And so I went into the bishop e7 line, and I noticed that after bishop e7... Oh, come on, bro. Hello? Oh, really, man? Like, seriously? I can't flip board. How is that possible? Wow, the flipboard hotkey just died. Anyway, so f4, and I only had b5 here. And so what I did when I recorded the first video was that then I entered queen c7, and also at the same time I checked with the Enhine, also known as the engine, as to where I went wrong. And when I played here bishop e3, it yelled at me a question mark, exclamation mark. So I'm like, okay, so what's going on? Surely queen f3. And then, oh my god, I just didn't even think that this, despite of the fact that, by the way, it gets a green tick, it's a total garbage move. It makes no sense at all. Like, it has no function at this very point. Because castles, fine. b5, fine. Knight c6, fine. Queen c7 does not do to support any of the previously mentioned moves, and I can just simply lunge forward with f5 and do tremendous damage to the pawn structure. e5 is more or less forced, and after knight f3 or even knight e2, with the idea of conquering the d5 square, white is going like champ. This is a fairly basic example. I will show you a much better one. Playing against this nearly 2600 dude. Once again, Night Orphan, we are going into my pet variation, and this time it goes into the bishop g5 line, which is my other pet line. Most famous game in this line that ever was played was Ivanchuk Karyakin, where Ivanchuk played at one point the queen takes e6, queen sack for a pawn, literally. Look it up, guys, if you haven't seen it. Bishop e7, queen f3, queen b6, castles. And again, I can't help but put everything away so that you don't see it. Queen b7 was played. Now here, it's really intriguing because when queen b7 happened, there were two things that went through in my head. One, this is mainline theory. Two, I remember what to do. And when I looked up this game, then the computer told me that, nah, mate, you're totally wrong. Anyway, so I remember that my line in the file that I just showed you said queen g3, which I played wrong. And I also remember that after b4, I had this idea that I take, and then I go knight d5. In my file, by the way. Take, bishop d5, and somehow I am going to do okay here. That's all I remembered. But I didn't quite feel right in this game. In this position, I thought yeah, maybe this was sweet and we are doing really well. What I was really worried about in the game was actually, instead of queen a7, was queen b6. And after takes, I don't have enough for the two pieces versus rook. In fact, I'm clearly worse. As you can see, the white bar gradually keeps on shrinking. Now, luckily, he went a7. I took, and I will show you the whole game because it was quite cool. I played knight f5, I played f4. I actually played a really good game here and played a fair few, Yeah, there you go, except for that. I mean, it's harsh to give this a question mark because rook e1 is winning, but e5 is winning too. Takes, 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 and here he fell into a beautiful mate. Check this out. Rook back, check, and mate. And so, when this game ended, then I went like, okay, I need to look this thing up because I was certain that my file said knight d5, and I also felt that something was amiss. And so what I did was that I looked up my file, and in my file, actually I can't show you anymore the file because I updated it in the previous take of the video. So instead, I then went to Stockfish or whatever engine we are using here, and to my greatest dismay, as I'm recording this video for the first time, I noticed that queen b7 is a mistake and it says +2. I'm like, what the heck? That was the main line in my file. I kid you not. Here, actually after castles, I've got 4 moves as you can see it here. And queen b7 was down here where knight d7 is now as main line. That was considered back in the day when I made this file the best move. And then now, 10 years later or so, Stockfish tells me, dude, it's not playable. And when that happened, by the way, and it said question mark and I saw the 211, you know what I did? And this is very, very instructive for you. I did this. Stop. I don't want you to tell me what it is. I want to figure it out. Because if you use this mentality, you are far more likely to A, actively work on your openings by figuring out stuff that is going on, but 2, if you succeed in figuring it out, to actually remember it. And so I went like, right, looking for aggro moves, surely it has to be bishop takes f6. I don't see anything else. And after gf6, queen h5, this knight e6, bishop e6 threat is brutal. If in this pawn structure a white queen appears on h5 and it can't be contested with queen c5, that's a half disaster already. Now that already is an illegal move, of course, and e6 is actually under attack by 2 opposed to the usual just 1 only. So this is carnage. I knew that right away. What I didn't understand was that why is bishop takes f6 so bad? And in order to understand this, I actually have to go back and reveal to you the other issue. And that is that in this position, I actually did look up the engine move. And I did remember knight d5. And that was in my file. And the engine tells me, no, brother, it's actually knight f5. And the idea is, and I had to work this out again with the computer, as in I tried without the computer and I succeeded, is that, so after takes we win the queen, right? So that's kindergarten stuff. If they take here, and I will be honest with you, this I never saw coming, because here I tried bishop d5, make it work. No, knight d5, and just, you dead, bro. And when the computer showed this to me, I went like, wow. The idea is quite amazing. Knight d7 loses to tack, 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 and there is a lot of wood under attack on your bike. And other than this, what do? Like, how do you develop? Castles loses to knight d6, bishop e5 loses to f4. There is no moves left. It's just breathtaking. If takes here, take here, here, and perhaps bishop d5, perhaps rook e1 first. I don't know, I messed this up. Now I will turn on the engine so that I save some time for you. Okay, actually, no, sorry. It's take, bishop d5, queen a7, queen d6. And, yeah, the king got stuck in the middle. Rook e1 is carnage. Absolute carnage. Like, this was a huge revelation for me. Unfortunately, as it turns out, a useless one, because black already had played a losing move prior to this position. Nonetheless, I then took the butter, looked up my file, and I actually entered here that it's actually, so here my file used to say knight d5, you can see that, and I had just entered knight f5 when I was recording the first version of this video. So now I can't really model that to you, but I will model it by saying that I will actually add to this. So ef5, knight d5. Actually, I should have entered that. Wow, none of my hotkeys work now in ChessBase. That's fabulous. I'm loving that. Which line should we enter? Okay, this is a fairly comprehensive one. Let's add that white is winning. And you need to enter it like this into your database. And let's give this one a red hot go. Take here, here, here. And we're going to give a plus minus to that one too. Now we are going to save it, which I also cannot do because it's tragically stupid. So we saved it and Dansky. And then I went back to the earlier queen b7 to figure out what's going on. And I already did tell you that it was bishop f6 because gf queen h5. And after bishop takes, believe it or not, knight f5 again. Same genius idea, but now it's even better. And I actually, when I saw this, I remember that I saw this motive back in the day when I was working on these various knight jump sacrifices, that the idea here is that if they take, you play bishop d5, queen a7 is forced to hang on to the rook, and then either takes or e5, probably both work, but I would take, doubling the firepower onto the rook, and that wins. And so black's best here is probably castles, and after knight d6 we are a clear pawn to the good, which I then promptly again entered into my files. So you can see here that after queen b7, which it actually now gets a question mark instead of an exclam question, bishop takes f6 is my new main line, and gf is dealt with, and actually bishop takes f6 should be promoted as better move, and then knight f5, and then I entered this, and I also entered here the castles line, which also should be promoted. It's important that you always promote the best moves as main lines for both sides. And that was that. So that was my learning about my own pet line. So imagine how I perform when I'm not playing a variation that I have been working on for X amount of years, constantly keeping it updated and so on and so forth. So here I forgot my line on move 14, which in your own pet line, I suppose it's kind of embarrassing, kind of not. But imagine how I perform when I don't have my pet line. Well, I will show you. So I played a game against fellow Aussie international master Igor Bielobrook, a very fearsome opponent and a very, very good blitz player. And he actually gave me a sound thrashing. I think I lost like 5-2 or something, even worse perhaps. In the King's Indian, he played a few very dodgy, tricky lines, and I constantly misresponded. So when the session was over, I looked it up all. So he likes to play this early d5, a5. But here he doesn't do bishop g5 as per the main idea of the Petrosian variation. In one game he played bishop e3, which was actually Kramnik's idea, with the concept of bishop g5 here, back, f5, take, h3 back. And I think it's... No, it's not bishop e3. Maybe just castles. Yeah. This was supposedly Kramnik's idea, this variation. Maybe h4 here is also playable. Anyway, so instead here he played h3. And I played knight a6, which I thought was totally cool. Bishop, oopsies. Bishop e3 came, I played knight h5, he played g3. And me, like an idiot, I'm like, bugger, I can play f5. Because if I do, he's going to take e5, I take back, and h5 drops. And so I drop back to f6, to which the only acceptable response is to take your glasses off, do this, put the glasses back on, and carry on with life. And I played the King's Indian with 75 tempi down, because I went knight here, then back, then knight here, and then f5. And of course, afterwards, when I looked it up, I'm like, dude, you have seen this motif 5 million times. And I still managed to forget that when there is a pawn on g3, f5 is totally playable, because after ef, gf, knight e5, you have knight g3. My goodness. And black is clearly better. I dare say that after f5, he probably would have played knight g5. So it's worth looking that up. And f4 is the correct response. Bishop back, knight takes. What? Oh yeah, because if pawn takes, then this becomes defended and they can perhaps take on h5. So knight g3 takes, takes, takes. Now that's a sexy motive to remember. Now I haven't entered this, and I don't want to bother with that anymore because you saw how I'm doing it in my chess-based file. So, yeah, that was basically it. Yeah, and we played another King's Indian. I actually won that, but wasn't really a good game either. And so I refreshed my King's Indian knowledge as a result of these matches. So now I have modeled for you what I think is the best way to play Blitz. Play the games, do your best, and then you go like, right, let's have a look, even a look, as to what went wrong. Where did I forget my openings? Where did my opponent potentially play a move that took me out of book, isn't part of my opening repertoire, but is a decent move? And this last addition is very important because my files would be bigger than a university library if I entered after f4 every single move under the sun. But I'm only entering the sensible ones, so hence I have got in my file here castles b5 and queen c7. There's not a lot else there that, and knight c6 perhaps, that black can do. But the sensible moves, they all have to be entered into your files so that you are prepared against them. And so once again, this is my model. This is how I see an improver to use their Blitz games to the greatest benefit. Because if you just play them and you go like, yeah, I played some Blitz, it was fun and blah, it's like, in my opinion, unless you just purely play for fun, there is like, it's so much value left on the ground that could be just picked up and to put to amazing use. So I really recommend you to try to acquire this mindset. And ironically, it's not only going to improve your chess, but it's going to improve your Blitz a lot too. Not that that's by any way, shape or form would be a goal. It shouldn't, but it doesn't hurt. It certainly doesn't hurt. And so, yeah, this is how you polish your opening files. This is how you add to your opening knowledge. And this is how eventually that means that you are going to enhance your opening knowledge, your openings, the understanding of your openings, and just in general, you will feel a lot more at home in those openings that you are playing. So that was going to be it, guys. I deeply regret that the first take didn't succeed because it was a slightly better one, but you still get the picture. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm going to be back. Wow, speaking is hard. I'm going to be back with more soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.